Welcome back to Chief Studios. This is Taylor Bell. You know what time it is.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kick.
All right, welcome back. Glad to have you. Now, we are on the eve of a ginormous game. Basically, a game that the whole world will be watching. Now, no, this is not the Super Bowl. This is a regular season game, but it's a very special regular season game. The Chiefs are playing the Miami Dolphins for Week 9, and the game is going to be played in Frankfurt, Germany. The Chiefs will be the home team in this battle of the AFC. It's the two best teams record-wise in the AFC, and I cannot wait. Now, to get this out of the way, if you want to watch it, it'll be on, let me see here, it'll be on NFL Network. It will be on, let's see, Game Pass International. It will be on NFL Plus. It'll be on your local NBC affiliate. Now, we are here at Chief Studios. I'm going to get up and call the game play-by-play here at Chief Studios. So if you're on the road, if you're traveling, if you cannot watch the game, please tune in to Chief Studios. I will put out a scheduled live stream so you get reminded probably this evening that we'll do the play-by-play. I'm going to do the play-by-play tomorrow for the Chiefs game, and then Fred Davis is going to have the post-game show. Get all the reaction, hopefully a very good reaction, and we'll get into that here shortly. Not going to be too long of an episode, but very interesting game. As you can tell, we have the German flag behind us with Mahomes there flexing on all the rest of the world. Now, I was doing some homework for this and some research, and it's actually quite interesting. Look, so this is a big game in many different areas, right? The Chiefs looked horrible last week against Denver, just out of sync. You know what? Here's the other thing, and I was thinking about this today. Do you think they're poor? And look, I doubt it is, but I was obviously doing some thinking. But do you think this week, the travel, everything involved, do you think they were focused on the game versus Denver? I would hate to say that they were not, but I just wonder, they have had some other poor performances this year, so that might not be a good excuse, but it just seemed like something was off last week. And just something that ran through my mind when I passed it on. If you believe so, whether it led to them struggling or not, please let me know in the comment section. But look, this is a huge game. It's a get back game, right? Chiefs traditionally, and I'm here in San Antonio, just to let you know, big time Spurs fan, and it's interesting because I was talking to Fred. This team, when you have a generational talent like Patrick Mahomes and or Tim Duncan, I know it's a different sport, but there are similarities. And then you have a Hall of Fame, world-renowned coach leading that team. You have Andy Reid for the Chiefs, and you have Greg Popovich for the San Antonio Spurs. You know what I mentioned to Fred? Every time. And this is when I was growing up, because it was a little ways ago, but just hear me out. Whenever the Spurs would get blown out or they played very poorly, whatever it is, I don't know the secret sauce that Popovich put in the game, in the playbook for the very next game, Spurs would always bounce back and have a good game. Look, it wasn't 100%, but that was one of the, I don't do a lot of betting, but I did know a couple people that placed bets, and that was their favorite bet because it hit almost 100% of the time. Whenever the Spurs would get blown out, they would always cover and they would always have a very good performance the following game. Now, I hope this relates to the Chiefs for tomorrow's game. Um, the Chiefs have done relatively well. I was going back and looking at the numbers in some of their real bad losses, and not just going back to the beginning of this year. I'm talking about since Mahomes has been the starting quarterback. Whenever they would have a poor performance, they always overperformed the following week. So I got my fingers crossed that this is one of those times. Now, the reason why I'm not necessarily not so confident, but gives you a reason to pause is because it's not like you're at home now and you're playing Miami at home, or even at a neutral site in the United States. You've flown a quarter of the way across the world, and now you are in Germany, a soccer stadium, or what they would call football. Um, and it looks to be the weather. We'll get into that in a minute. I really hope they have a really good performance. Now, like I said, history has shown that will be the case, but with the struggles this team has been going through this year, it's a you just don't really know what to expect. Now, in previous years, you could basically you know exactly what to expect, right? You could count on a wide receiver having a huge game as far as catches and yards and or touchdowns. You can count on Kelsey having a big game, which I'm sure he will. Um, you could count on a decent run game, not run heavy, but handing the ball off, getting some yards on the ground, especially if it's going to be rainy in the past. But this year's different, right? Really don't have a number one wide receiver. It's been a struggle all season long. If you're a subscriber and watcher of this channel, you would know that. And you really don't have much of a running game. So I don't know. Now, I think Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to put on a show. He seems fired up. He's actually very excited to play in Germany. He said he's been quoted as saying, soon as the schedule came out for this year, this was the game that he circled on his calendar, the game that he marked mentally as important. Not that the other 16 are not, but this one's super important. The Chiefs are pretty interesting and unique in this way. Look, when these NFL teams, I think they've been doing it for about 10 years, something like that. Of course, they had NFL Europe, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about regular season NFL games in another country. It's almost like the owners don't want to do it because they lose out on money, on merchandising at home, on beer, popcorn. They miss out on all that stuff, right? And then the players and coaches don't necessarily, or they're not real thrilled about it. They got to leave their family for a number of days. You have to leave the country and play a game in a stadium in an environment that you are just not used to. So it's kind of like a wild card, but the Chiefs have embraced this role. Every single player, I listened to the interviews, the post-practice interviews, the media sessions. Every single player was jacked up and excited about this game, and I would be too. Mahomes is very excited. Andy Reid said he's very excited. The president of the Chiefs very excited. The owner is quoted as saying he's very excited. Now, I say that they will kind of take on this role, and to be honest with you, I've never heard a team. Of course, you in the past you'll hear a player say, "Oh yeah, it was kind of cool, whatever, kind of whatever type of deal." But everybody I heard from the Chiefs this last few days are very excited. They've taken on this role. They want to be the NFL's number one international team. I read that the Chiefs, while this was being scheduled, part of the negotiations, they want Europe. They don't want when you play these games in Germany, when you play these games in London. I think they had a preseason game in like Japan, and they had one in Mexico City. A lot of these teams don't get or get a very small portion of the proceeds in and surrounding the stadium, right? I read that while this was being scheduled, Kansas City ownership and front office, basically ownership, negotiated with I'm assuming the stadium over there, or the people that were in charge of scheduling with the NFL. Or look, they want to have the very, very best teams come to Europe. They don't want Cleveland versus the Giants, right? Or the Giants versus the Jets, two teams that kind of suck. Or Arizona. They want the best teams that the NFL has to offer, and the NFL wants that too. But they can't plan for the future. They don't know if somebody's going to get a bad injury, like Aaron Rodgers, right? If they were scheduled to go over, who knows with that stuff. But the Chiefs negotiated. Long story short, the Chiefs negotiated I'm assuming they didn't say this, quote unquote, but I'm going to say it. Basically, a landmark deal where the Chiefs get almost the amount and or percentage of game day sales as they would at home. So they're not necessarily going to lose out on the game day money and or revenue that the other teams go to Europe, play outside the US. Like I said earlier, they're losing out on a bunch of different things, and that's why everybody's hesitant. All the other franchises are kind of hesitant to go. Well, it looks like Kansas City negotiated a whole new deal. So Kansas City is getting a cut of all the merchandise being sold there, and they're bringing over a ginormous amount of merchandise. So they're getting a big cut of the merchandise. They're getting a big cut of the drinks, food. What else? I think there's some actually some hotel revenue involved. It's a number of things that, what I read, has never been explored or sought out before. So maybe this will, if each team, and I'm not sure if the NFL negotiates this or the team does, but regardless of what happens, it looks like Kansas City is eager to take the mantle as the number one team internationally, and rightfully so. They have the best player. They have the next Tom Brady. They have the face of the NFL going internationally and wanting to put on a show. Mahomes said he's not ill. He's feels tremendously better from his illness, the flu, whatever he had last weekend. So I think it should be a good game. I just hope the wide receivers can catch the ball. Let me get into, let's see here. Let me share the screen real quick. I have an injury report for both teams, and this is the latest. It was literally up to the minute right before I started this. Let's see. Let's go to, you know what? Let me go to the weather real quick. Let's see what the weather is like in Germany on game day. So Germany is 6 hours. If you're Central Standard Time, like Texas or Kansas City, it's going to be 8:30 in the morning Central Standard Time, 9:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, and it'll be 6:30 in the morning Pacific Standard Time. Now, if you go off of Central Standard Time, which is the time zone I'm in and Kansas City is in, Germany, well, no matter what time zone you're in, Germany 6 hours ahead. So you're looking at a 2:30 p.m. kickoff time in Germany. And I pulled up the weather. Sunday, tomorrow, a high 54, a low 48 degrees Fahrenheit. And then if you go over here and look at kickoff, it's basically right about here. It's going to be, I clicked on it right before 3 o'clock. So 2:30 should be right about here. It's going to be 53 degrees. What does it say? Light rain and winds of 16 miles per hour. Fairly humid. And like I said, the precipitation is 73%. Let's see where the wind is coming out of. Looks like it's going to rain. There's a large percentage of a chance of rain just before noon local time. So even if it does rain a decent amount, that still gives an hour to I'm not sure how the grounds crew, they might cover the field. Look, it's meant for soccer, and I know they do play in inclement weather out there, but they may have a tarp over it. They I'm sure they have a grounds crew. The NFL is very, very strict rules and standards, which by each field has to meet before the NFL will even think about playing on a field. So they've scouted each stadium. They know what the grass is going to look like. I'm assuming it's grass. I doubt it's artificial turf or turf grass, whatever you call it. But it looks like it drops off right before kickoff as far as the percentage of rain. But let me see where the wind's coming out of. So we have winds of about 15 miles per hour. Okay, so I'm not sure, that might have a little something to do. Look, it's not going to be perfect weather, but it's not anything the Chiefs haven't seen. Now, for Miami, I'm sure it's a bigger difference and or impact to Miami than it is Kansas City, because obviously you're down in South Beach. It's nice, warm, sunny year round. Of course, they get a light shower here and there, but it's going to be cool. It's going to be cold and wet, so it does favor the Chiefs. Now, let me get into the injury report that I just was checking up on. Let me adjust the screen real quick to make sure I have the best angle. That's not the best. There we go. Okay, so for the Chiefs, you've got Jerick McKinnon. I'm not gonna go every single one, but the only ones that stand out. So you go to the names, you see what their injury was, their position, Wednesday's practice, Thursday practice, Friday's practice, Saturday. This is their status, right? So basically, everybody's good to go except Richie James, which we know he hasn't played in a while. I think since week 2, something like that. And then here's the other one, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, he really hasn't had that big of an impact, so they've been carrying on without him. Now, he's back in Kansas City. He did not travel with the team. I'm assuming he's got the flu, something like that. So didn't have practice out. He's in KC. Don't know if Richie James is traveling. Interesting thing, Mahomes was on the injury report with a left hand injury, but he did full practice, and he's good to go. So he's definitely expected to play. But as you can tell, L'Jarius Sneed, Mike Edwards, Tony's on there. But look, everybody's a go except Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Richie James, and then Willie Gay is questionable. For the Dolphins, now they got a little more banged up roster. Let's see. They got a number of players that have shown up on the injury report. Jalen Ramsey just came back from a knee injury. I think he played his first game of the season last week. He is expected to play this week, tomorrow. You had Jalen Waddle here, a very good wide receiver. He's expected to play. Let's see, any other names that stick out? Mozart, he's going to play. Brandon Jones is out. Wow. And then Rob Hunt is out. So they should have a decent starting lineup. Oh, we got more. Braxton Berrios, Justin Bethel. Those two are questionable. So nothing that stands out too much. So that should not be an issue. Now, I was brainstorming about this game basically all week, and I came down to just a handful of key factors that I think will play, or the things you need to watch or just look out for during the game. So things to keep an eye on. Tua, I'm not sure how many of you have watched Miami Dolphins football game this year. I think I've watched 3 out of the 8. But Watch how fast Tua, the quarterback, Miami Dolphins quarterback, watch how fast he gets the ball out of his hands. I was doing some research. He actually gets the ball out of his hands the fastest out of any quarterback in the NFL this season. He's got the fastest as far as when the ball is snapped to when he gets rid of the ball. They are number one. It says Tua is getting rid of the ball in just 2.28 seconds on average. It's the quickest of any passer or quarterback in the NFL, on more than 62% of his passes. And Pro Football Focus has Tua ranked as the top passer in the NFL this season on throws fewer than 2.5 seconds. Wow. So they're looking to get the ball out fast. And their coach, McDaniel, they're like the old school Kansas City Chiefs, right? Where like Kansas City Chiefs of like 3 years ago. Now they do have Tyreek Hill, which helps look them like the Chiefs of old, but they do tons of play action. They do tons of motion. They do tons of basically like backyard football. They like to spread the ball out. They do quick passes. They do medium passes. They definitely throw the deep ball, which is what I want and I'm missing from the Kansas City Chiefs this year. But I don't blame them because they really don't have anybody to throw to. I guarantee if they had Tyreek Hill or somebody like him on the roster, they'd be throwing deep once or twice a game. But Miami's very exciting to watch. I think they lead the league in passing offense, and it's not one-dimensional. They lead the league in rushing, I believe, as well. Now, don't quote me on that, but I know they're right up there. I know they're number one in passing, but rushing they might be one or two, something like that. But it's a very balanced offense, and that's why it works. When they do the play action, the linebackers, safeties bite on the fake handoff, and then you have Tyreek Hill and Mozart running long routes, and then Tua will just throw bombs. And look, they got it working this season. That's why I'm so nervous about this game. The Dolphins thrive on big plays. Miami has 11 scoring drives this year that took place in 4 or fewer plays. So they've scored touchdowns 11 times where that offensive drive took only 4 snaps or fewer. That's amazing. So that means they're snapping the ball and they're throwing it down the field. The Dolphins also have a league most 46 plays of 20 plus yards. That's insane, including 33 passes in 13 runs. I told you they're good. Digging even deeper, 22 of those 46 plays, or basically 48% of those plays, have occurred on first down. I saw that and I was like, holy crap. So, very explosive. So this is a good test for our defense, right? The defense has been, it's much better than in previous years, but it's looking better this year as far as each game has gone on. Now they've been getting players back from holdouts, suspensions. So now their defensive group, their defensive core, minus an injury or two, is basically good and intact. So this will be a very, very good test for the defense to see just how well you're going to go up against the number one offense in the NFL. So now's the time to put you to the test. The offense is put to the test every week, as far as I'm concerned. But it'll be interesting to see what we do here with the defensive wise in Germany versus the Dolphins. Last week, pass rush was good. It was positive last week versus Denver. But like I was saying, they can build on it moving forward. Here's the catch. No pun intended, going back to Tua's quick release. It's hard to get to the quarterback. It's hard to get your hands on him. It's hard to sack him when he's getting rid of the ball better than any other quarterback in the NFL. So that's why this is a huge test, multi-dimensional test for the defense. Kansas City's recorded a season best 6 sacks last week against Denver. As a team, the Chiefs have 28 sacks on the year and are second most in the NFL with sacks. Let's see. George Kalafis had a big game last week and leads the team. And let's see. Wow, so he's having a good year. He's got 39 pressures, ranked 7th in the NFL. Chiefs are just one of 2 teams to yield no more than 24 points in a single game this season, joining the Baltimore Ravens. So, and then we go back to the struggles of the offense. So, look, it's not an easy game. You're up against you might see the Dolphins in the playoffs at some point. So it's imperative that you put a good showing. It's imperative you execute on these plays, because what did they say last week? We just didn't execute. And it showed, and it was across the board. So it wasn't just the wide receivers. It was, like I said, just something wasn't right. Something was out of sync. I don't know, but that's behind us. Let's look towards Miami. And it's a big test for Miami, right? If they want to really be known as a contender not only in the AFC, but in the NFL, they have to put on a good showing, and they have to beat Kansas City. And I don't think they just need to beat them like in a shootout. Of course, that would be fun and exciting. But if they just put a whipping on the Chiefs, which I don't think will happen, but let's say Miami wins by 31. I mean, they win. Let's say Miami wins 31 or 37, since we're high-powered offense, 37-24 or 37-19, right? It's kind of a shellacking, and then people start, because everybody's going to be watching this. Now, maybe a few less people on the West Coast, because I can get up for an 8:30 NFL game. I'm not getting up for a 6:30 in the morning NFL game. Sorry. I'll let Fred cover that. But so to encompass this whole game tomorrow, a big test for Miami, yes, because they want to solidify themselves as real contenders in the NFL. So they're going to be coming at your throats tomorrow morning. Kansas City, huge game for them. They need to get back on track. The offense needs to get back in sync, needs to get rolling, and they want to put a good showing to be considered international team, NFL's number 1 team worldwide. So it'll be interesting. Now, Kansas City paid for, this is really cool, the Chiefs team paid for basically a charter, so I think it was a 737. I'm sure they were season ticket holders. A whole plane full of fans paid for their airfare, paid for their hotel, and obviously game ticket, and they flew over yesterday. And I thought, man, that'd be so much fun. God, that would be so much fun. So it'd be interesting to see how many. Now, look, that's only what, I don't know how many people a 737 holds. Probably, I don't know, 180 people, something like that. Whatever. Stadium holds 55,000. So it'll be interesting to see how many fans have their red jerseys on, their Mahomes jerseys on. I will be looking for that tomorrow. Just, personal question of mine. But they also have a yacht that apparently they've parked in some riverway, like in Venice, like in Italy. They have that basically like here in San Antonio, the Riverwalk, right? They have of course it's bigger than the Riverwalk, but they have waterways going through the city, kind of like Chicago, right? I guess it's just like Chicago, going through the downtown. The Chiefs, I don't know if they own it, if they did. Look, Chiefs are going all out for this. Like they've been promoting in Germany all season long. Now, well, technically this was announced like maybe 10 months ago, but really hard. They've been promoting really hard since the season started 9 weeks ago, and they're promoting super duper hard this past week, or I think they said 2 weeks. So they have a ginormous yacht. Hang on, let me see if I can pull this up real quick and I'll show y'all. And they're going to park it in this waterway, like in the middle of in the middle of downtown Germany or Frankfurt. Let's see. Kansas City Chiefs yacht. Let's see. Let's go to images. I think I typed too much. There we go. All right, so let me share this. All right, so look at this. This thing looks super cool. I have no idea if they own it. I have no idea. I'm dumbfounded. But look at this. Let me go to this website. Share this. So look at this. Can I zoom in? Damn, I hate pop-ups. Man, maybe not. But look, if you can see the mouse, look right here. You got the German flag with the Kansas City Chiefs logo, and then obviously the Chiefs logo, but you got the players painted on the side. This whole yacht custom painted, and then they have a seating or grouping area, and there's an extension right here for the fans or whoever's going to go on here, and I'm assuming they can eat on there. Look, I don't know where this came from. I don't know who owns it. Maybe it's the Hunt's personal yacht. I have no idea. It doesn't really look like a yacht. It looks like a travel tourism thing, but damn, that thing's big, right? It's huge. So anyways, long story short, that'll be, or it is there right now, and just used for promotional stuff. The locals will walk by and be like, oh, what's that? And then oh, that's the NFL team that's playing here. So Kansas City's going all out. Is that Germany? Yeah, Frankfurt's most famous bridge. These are the river. Okay, so yeah, it's like Chicago, where they have big waterways going through the city. It looks really cool. Looks very, very nice. So, very excited. And look, tomorrow morning, 8:30 Central Standard Time, come to Chief Studios. I will be calling the game live, play-by-play, just letting y'all know what's going on. Come join the fun with me. I'll have a cup of coffee and watch the game together. So we will live stream that. That will do it for today. I do appreciate your time. And as always, thank you very much. And don't forget, after the game, I think they time it up perfect because kickoff's 8:30 Central Standard Time, and then normal game times in Central Standard Time start at 12 noon. So this game will start at 8:30, and then as soon as it's over, we'll roll into the noon kickoff games. So you'll basically have games from 8:30 in the morning all the way to, like, I don't know, 10 at night. So, but when the Chiefs game is done, tune in to Chiefs Studios. As soon as the game is done, I'm going to push the show over to Fred Davis, and he'll have the post-game show for everybody. So, tons of fun tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you there with us. And like I said, appreciate the time. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Don't forget, I'm going to send out notices here shortly.